Hi guys, this is a really quick walkthrough of how to use Google Classroom to set up learning from home for your students. Okay, so you need to log in using your Gmail credentials. That might be your @education address as a teacher. For students, it'll be at schools, or you might be using a private subscription, so you might be at Example Primary School. So sign in. I'm going to use my Edumail credentials just so that you can see what it looks like, because it will be the same for you. We're going to go to Classroom. Sometimes Classroom can be hidden down here, so you need to make kids aware of that because they might have trouble finding it. And you can see there's no classes. If you've made classes in the past, they will be sitting here. This is the first time I'm making a class on this account, so I'm going to go to the plus. I'm going to create a class, and in here, which is required, I can put in my class. I'm going to call this one 4D. You can choose to fill out the rest, but it's optional. I'm just going to put my name there, so if kids have a few different classrooms, they can find mine easily. And I'm going to create the class. So from here, I can see that video chat, that's Meet, is available through Google Classroom, which is very cool for learning online. And this is the stream page. So this is where all of the announcements are listed. They're chronological. If you post assignments and things, they'll come up here as well. So you can share something with your class. And the kids can also respond to that too. You can turn off commenting. I'd be having a chat to your students about setting some rules and expectations in terms of class comments, because kids can get pretty silly under here chatting to each other. So it's good to set that up in terms of your conventions when you do that with your video conferencing, for example. Google have picked this background for me. If you want to change it, I can go to select theme, pick something else based on the subject that I'm teaching. It's totally up to you. You can also upload photos if you want to put something in there that is special to you and your kids. For example, it might be the book that you're reading. So I'm going to put an arts one up here because we're going to be doing an arts activity today. And it will change that. You can see here that I've got a class code. This is one way I can ask my students to join. It's the easiest method, and if I click next to that, I can make it nice and big. So you can just screen capture this and send it home in your letter to parents if that's what you're doing, along with the student logins if they're not sure of what their logins are. Once students have logged in using that class code, it keeps that classroom on their account until they remove themselves or you remove them. So sending this home is probably a lot easier than going through and adding all of the student emails. But I'll show you how to do that anyway. So if I go across to Classwork, this is where I'm going to set all of my assignments. So I can also add a Google Drive folder. Okay, if you want to create that, I'll teach you how to do that in the Google Drive tutorial, which you can access from our website. So if I go across to create, you can see there's a whole range of different types of assessment material or assignment material that you can post. The best one to use if you're a first timer is this assignment one, because it's really open-ended and it enables you to attach all sorts of different files and all sorts of different tasks. These ones are quite specific and I will show you those in a minute. So if we go to topics, we want to set up the different topics within our lessons first. Today I'm going to post an art one. Just because there's a nice range of materials that we can use for an art lesson. So once I've created the topic, I can then go and create the assignment. This one's going to be we're going to do a collage. And we can let students know. And I'm going to paste some instructions in here too. So I paste my instructions in. And down here you can see an add button. And I can add a range of different file types. So we're going to do a collection of things today. I'm going to go to my Google Drive first, and I've put some pictures in there of collages that I want the kids to have a look at. And I'm going to attach some examples. So you can see those pictures there. I've also pre-recorded the lesson explaining the task using Loom, and I've downloaded that and saved it to my Google Drive, so I can add that through here as well. I'm just doing them separately so you can see the different file types. If I wanted to, Loom gives you a link direct to your Loom account where the videos sit. This is where you would attach that link there. But I like to download and put things into my Google Drive. It keeps it all together, and it also means that I'm not referring the kids out to third-party programs. Then if I want to add a YouTube clip, there's 2 ways you can do it. You can video search. So if I type in collage artist, it will give me a range of different artists, and I'm looking for this one here. The other option is to go up to URL, and if you found the YouTube clip, you can copy and paste the link in and it will put it there directly for you, so you can choose how to add it yourself. So I've got a range of resources there for the kids. If I come across here, I can see who it's for, so I can choose whether it's assigned for my whole class or individual students. I can assign a grade to that. I'm going to make this unmarked today. And you can also change the way in which things are marked, the grading schedule, through class settings, and I'll show you that at the end of this clip. Set a due date and a time. I'm going to say 11 a.m. and assign it to the topic that you've created. Google Classroom also have a new rubric function so that you can create rubrics and add those to your task. Once that's all there, we can go assign, and it will be there waiting for the students. So outside of adding assignments that way, you can also add a quiz which automatically generates a Google form for you that you can then create a quiz or do a bit of an exit ticket on some sort of lesson that you've done. You can also go through and add, like pose a question where kids can write in a response. Another option is material. This is really good if you want the kids to just watch or read something, or there's things that you want them to have throughout the term. So for example, this is where I would put things like a hundreds chart or maths resources, or maybe a reading that you're doing across the whole term. So things you want there to be all the time. And you can also go through and reuse posts. This is great because you can grab posts as well from other classes that you've had in the past, which is very handy. If we then go across to people, this is where you can add other teachers. Perhaps you team teach with your class, and you can also ask parents. So to add guardians, I can go to class settings, and this is where I can also change my class details. If I scroll down, you'll see guardian summaries. That's where you can turn on the settings to invite guardians. When you do that, you'll see an option appear next to the student name in the people page. You can also turn off commenting or choose specific students who can comment, which is great if you've got people being silly, as I mentioned before, in your stream. And you can also see down here there is an option to turn the Google Meet code on. This will put the code on the landing page so kids can dial in and talk to you really easily. And also there's marking, so you can change the way that kids are marking. You can set up your grading system based on how you want to grade your students and whether that grading is visible to students or not. Okay, I'm going to show you what it looks like from the student perspective. You can see as well from me adding that Meet link that's popped up there as an option as well. So in courses, so students will log in using their Gmail, whether it's at schools or whatever your school has set up for them, and they go to Google Classroom just like you do, and where you created a class, they'll actually click Join a Class, and then it asks them for the class code. So that code that you sent home with them, this one, is what they will put in to then join the class as a student. That's a very quick walkthrough of how to use Google Classroom. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me through the Evolve website. I'll be also posting a video with a little bit more detail on how to use Google Classroom for marking assessments and providing feedback to students when they're learning from home.